Sonnets to Orpheus. Second part. 1. Breath, you invisible poem, world space continually in pure interchange with our own being, counterpoise wherein I rhythmically occur, solitary wave, whose gradual sea I am, you most sparing of all possible seas, space one. How many of these places in space have already been within me? Many a wind is like a song to me. Do you know me, you air, still full of places once mine? You one time smooth rind, rondure and leaf of my words tree. 2. As sometimes hurriedly on the nearest leaf, the master catches the stroke that is most worthwhile, so mirrors opening to themselves take the maiden's sacred single smile. When they adventure into the morning alone, or where lesser lights shine on dim walls, into the breathing real faces that were their own, later only a reflection falls. What have I seen that once gazed in charred ashes, and in the fireplace's slowly dying blaze, gleams of life fading like a last glowing coal? Ah, the earth, who knows her losses? Only one who sounds the song of praise, song of the heart, born into the whole. 3. Mirrors, never yet could anyone describe you, knowing what you really are. You, like innumerable holes in a sieve, filling intervals of time as it were. You who are wasters of the empty hole, wide as the woods when it is dusk, and the losses, like 16 pointed antlers, shall plunge through your impenetrable mask. Sometimes you are full of portraits. Again, a few seem to have gone into you. Still another you sent by, shyly hesitates. But of them all the loveliest will remain with you, her cheeks withheld until the clear, released Narcissus penetrates. 4. Oh, this is the creature that does not exist, the fact they did not know, and yet in any case, its motion, its bearing, its neck, they loved it, even to the light of its still gaze. Indeed it never was, yet because it was loved, it was a pure creature. They allowed it space, it was free, and in that space, clear, open, in which it moved, it raised its head and scarcely needed to be. They fed it with no grain, nor any corn, but ever with the chance it might be there. And thus it was the creature had such might, it grew a horn out of its brow, one horn. It came up to a virgin once, all white, and was in the silver mirror and in her. 5. Flower muzzle, with which the anemone opens bit by bit in the meadow morning, till into her lap the polyphony of the full light of heaven is downpouring. In your still, starry blossom, so distended is your muzzle of endless receiving. Sometimes such fullness has descended that even the sunset's beckoning to rest is scarcely able to give back to you the petal edge wide sprung. You, purpose and strength of how many worlds beside ours, we with our violence longer live. But when in all our lives, in which one shall we at last to receive be open wide? 6. Rose, you enthroned one, to them of ancient time you were a chalice with a simple rim, but for us you are the ultimate, the sublime blossom, the inexhaustible thing. You shine in your richness like vesture on vesture, about a body of nothing except air and fire. But your single leaf is the evasive gesture and the denial of all attire. Your fragrance has been calling for hundreds of years, across to us its sweetest name. Suddenly in the air it lies like flame. Even so, we know not what to call it, we guess. And memory over to it will reach with the calling hours, we beseech. 7. Flowers, to those arranging hands akin, hands of maidens from beginning to end, that lay on the garden table often, from rim to rim, hurt and drooping, you gently bend, awaiting the water to recover you once more from death already begun. And now lifted again between the poles that pour, the feeling fingers that are able to do even more good than you guessed, light ones, when you again revived in the jug, to find yourselves cooling and breathing confessions with warmth of maidens, from you like tired sins committed by being plucked, that bind you again to those who unite with you in bloom. 8. Or your few playmates who once shared together the city gardens, away from the roll of streets, how we found and shyly fancied one another, and like the lamb with a written scroll, spoke although silent. Whenever we were glad, it belonged to no one. Whose should it be? And how it was lost among people walking there, and in the long years' anxiety. Carriages rolled past us with indifferent swerves. Houses stood round us strong but unreal, and none ever knew us. What was real in it all? Nothing, only the balls, their glorious curves, not even the children, but sometimes one would appear passing under the falling ball. In memoriam Egon von Rilke. 9. Boast not, you judges, that with torture you dispense, or that iron shackles for the neck no longer exist. No heart is enhanced, not one, because an intense spasm of mercy will more tenderly twist you. What it received through the ages, the scaffold will give back again, as children their birthday toys of a previous year. The pure, the high, the gate-like open heart will receive him. He would differently enter, the God of real mercy. He will come with power, and as the gods, more glorious in his sweep, more than a wind for the great assured ship's faring, not less than the secret, the subtle, the aware, that wins us within, and silent will keep, like quietly playing child of an infinite pairing. 10. All we have achieved, the machine threatens to rule, so long as it sways the spirit instead of obeying alone, unless the illustrious hand lingers longer upon the tool, for the more resolute work starkly cuts the stone. It nowhere remains behind, so we might escape its zest, and oiling in silent factories it would be self-employed. It is life, thinks it knows best, having with equal resolve equipped, produced, destroyed. But existence is still enchanted, is at 100 or more points in its origin still, a playing of pure forces that no one touches who does not marvel and kneel before. Words still fail before the unsayable sources, and music, ever new, puts pulsating stones in place to build her godlike house in unusable space. 11. Many an established rule of death has come about, further conquering man, since you began hunting first. Yet I know more of you than of trap or net, a strip or sail hung out that they used to lower down into the cavernous cast. Softly they let you in, as though you were a token to celebrate peace. But then, the boy at the edge would give you a twist, and out of the cave, the night threw a handful of broken pale pigeons into the light. But even that has its right to exist. Far from the onlooker be it a breath of pity to borrow, not from the hunter only, who, proceeding with his lure, that which is timely fulfills. Killing is a form of our wandering sorrow. The serene spirit finds pure all that happens to ourselves. 12. Determine on change, or be enraptured with fire, wherein a thing eludes you without concern. That venturesome spirit which masters earthly desire loves in the swing of the figure nothing so much as the turn. That which resolves to remain already is stark. Is it safe in its shelter of grey, with no conspicuous rifts? From afar a hardness comes, the hard warning, hark, woe, an absent hammer lifts. Who pours himself forth spring-like, cognizance will know, and she leads him enchanted through realms of creation stealing, where often beginning ends and ending begins, you will find. Every happy space they wandering wander through is child or grandchild of parting, and metamorphosed Daphne, feeling like laurel, wants you to change yourself into wind. 13. Anticipate parting, as though it were behind you, like the long winter that has just passed. For among winters, the endless one that binds you, the heart that overcomes it will last. Live life like Eurydice. Mount singing, mount praising, back to the pure relation at last. Here among the waning in the realm of decline, be ringing, even though shattering as it rings, be a ringing glass. Be, and at the same time, know the meaning well of not being. The infinite depth of your slightest vibration fulfill. Complete yourself this one time to the utmost amount. To the used, the molded, the muffled, the dumb, among nature's opulence, the uncountable sum, jubilant, add yourself and blow out the count. 14. See the flowers, true to the earth that sent them hither, to whom we lend fate from the border of fate. Yet who knows if they regret to wither? It is ourselves who should be their regret. All things want to hover, we are like weights, bearing down on everything, with gravity beguiled. Oh, what teachers we are, for all things wearing, while they succeed as the eternal child. If one took them into intimate slumber, slept always deeply with things, oh, how lightly his days would fall. Day after day out of the common deep would flow, or he would stay perhaps, as they would bloom and praise him, the convert, who is like one of them, like all the quiet sisters and brothers where the winds of the meadows blow. 15. O fountain mouth, O mouth that speaks, giving exhaustlessly one single thing that is pure, you marble mask before the water's living, streaming face, and in the background hear the coming of aqueducts. From far away, past graves, from the slope of the Apennines, they bring you your speech, and fall at last, past the blackened aging where your chin declines, into the basin before it there. This is the laid down sleeping ear, the marble ear into which you speak always, an ear of earth's, but she is aware she talks to herself only. If a picture interferes, it seems to her interrupting what she says. 16. Evermore we uproot that which is growing. The God is the healing place. We are eager. We insist on knowing. He is serene, pervading space. Even the pure, the consecrate libation, He accepts into His world in no other way than by remaining unmoved in relation to the end, left free. Only the dead drink out of the spring here by us heard, when the God signals to them silently. To us, only the noise is proffered, and the lamb out of instinct begs for its bell quietly. 17. Where, in what blessedly watered gardens, on what trees, out of what tenderly unleaved bloom, do the exotic fruits of consolation ripen? These delicious fruits, of which perhaps one in the trampled meadow of your poverty you find. From time to time, you wonder over the fruit, its size, over its soundness, the smoothness of its rind, and that the thoughtlessness of a bird had not snatched it from you, nor the jealousies of the worms below. Are there then trees to which angels frequently go, and which slow occult gardeners so strangely rare, that without belonging to us, for us they bear? Have we never been able, we, shadow and shade, through our behavior, ripe too soon fade, to disturb the composure of the summer glow? 18. Dancer, O you translation of all that is passing into movement, how you capture it there, and the whirl at the close, that tree of animation which your swift whirling caught, was it not the triumph of the year? Did not its crown, your swirl of a moment ago around it, suddenly bloom with stillness? And above too, was it not sun? Was it not summer, the glow, that immeasurable warmth out of you? But it bore, your tree of ecstasy it bore. Are not these its tranquil fruits? The jug, how streaked as it ripened, the vase more ripely burning? And in the pictures, did not the drawing remain more the dark stroke that your eyebrow swiftly wrote on the wall of its own turning? 19. Somewhere gold dwells in the pampering bank, and on intimate terms with thousands. But to any blind man, the beggar there, even a copper penny is like a lost place, like the dusty corner under a plank. Money is at home all along the shopping places, arrayed in silk, carnations, and forced sweeps. He, the silent one, stands in the pause, in the breathing spaces of all that breathing money as it wakes or sleeps. Oh, how does it close by night, that always open hand? Tomorrow fate will bring it again, and day after day will hold it out bright, wretched, of incredibly fragile wear. If only one who visions would at last, amazed, understand and praise its long persistence. Only the singer can say, only the God can hear. 20. Between the stars, how far and yet how much farther on is what we learn from what we are. Someone, a child for example, and next him a second one. Oh, how incredibly far. Fate, measuring us perhaps by our being span, seems strange to us, a surprise. Think how many spans alone from a maid to a man when she has him in mind, yet flies. All is so far, nowhere does the circle close. See the fish's face on a gaily laid table, staring oddly from the dish. Fishes are dumb, one used to think. Who knows? But is there not a place where, without speaking, one is able to speak the language of the fish? 21. Sing the gardens, my heart, like gardens poured into glass, those forever unknown gardens, clear, unattainable, waters and roses of Ispahan or of Shiraz, blissfully sing them, praise them, the incomparable. Show my heart, you never will part with them, that it is you they have in mind, in their ripening figs, that when you are in them, their airs are heightened, as though to enfold your face between the blossoming twigs. Avoid the error of thinking something is forgone, for the resolve once taken is to be taken again. Silken thread, you are with the weaving blended. Whatever the picture with which you are inwardly one, be it even a moment out of the life of pain, feel the whole glorious carpet is intended. 22. Oh, despite fate, the glorious overflowing of our existence, foaming over into parkways, or as men of stone beside bases, showing on the high portals, braced beneath balconies. Oh, the brazen bell that daily lifts its solemn gong against the dullness of the long day, or the one in Karnak, the column, that outlives the almost eternal temple's decay. Today abundances plunge past, the same ones race, but only as haste, out of the horizontal yellow day into the dazzlingly magnified night caught. But the frenzy passes without leaving a trace. Curves of flight through the air, and those that led them away, none perhaps is in vain, yet only as thought. 23. Among your hours, call me to the one that unceasingly resists you, yearning like a dog's face that will come near you, but is ever away, turning when you think at last you have it grasped. What is most withdrawn is most yours. We are free. We were there dismissed, where we thought the welcome was ours. Longingly we clamor for a hold, we too young sometimes for the old, and too old for that which never was. We who are just only where we praise still, for we, alas, are the stem and the still, and the sweet of ripening danger. 24. Oh, this delight, ever new, out of the loosened soil. To the earliest who dared, almost no one gave assistance. Nonetheless, cities on blessed gulfs rose to existence. Pitchers were filled nonetheless with water and oil. Gods, we project them first in sketches that are bold, which perverse fate destroys and relegates to the past. But they are the immortals. Behold, we may hearken to him who will hear us at last. We, a generation through thousands of years grown, mothers and fathers, ever more full of the child of the future, that later perhaps overwhelms and transcends us. We endlessly ventured, what eons we have to come, and only silent death knows what we are and what he always gains when he lends us. 25. Hark, already you can hear the working song of the first harrows. Again, the human rhythm streams in the tense stillness of the early strong spring earth. What is coming seems not from of old to you. That for which you look has come so often it seems to come like something new. Always expected, you never took it, it took you. Even on the wintered oaks, the leaves in the evening a future brown seem. A sign is sometimes in each breeze that blows. Black are the bushes and the gathered sheaves. Heaps of manure in the fields a richer black gleam. Every hour that passes, younger grows. 26. How it can stir us, the cry of a bird. Any of creation's primal cries, but even children at play under the skies cry beyond cries that are really heard. Cry of chance, between the edges of the world's space, into which it seems unbroken bird cries pass, as people do in dreams. They drive their wedges, their shrieking wedges. Oh woe, where are we? Ever still freer, like kites torn loose, upward bounding, we chase in midair with peals of laughter, higher windily tattered. Lead the crier, singing God, that he wakes resounding, a current bearing the head and the lyre. 27. Time the destroyer, does it really exist? When on the mountain at rest, will it crumble the tower? This heart that belongs to the gods, will it persist unendingly? When will the demiurge overcome it by power? Are we really so apprehensively breakable as fate would have us believe it is willed? Is childhood so deep of promise, so unmistakable, at the roots of it later stilled? Ah, spectre of the never abiding, through the simply retaining it passes as though it were smoke. As those that we are, without driving, we yet are among the remaining powers the gods invoke. 28. You still have a child, oh go and come. Fill out the dance figure for a moment. Blend with the pure constellation of one of those dances in which we fleetingly transcend dull orderly nature. For she roused to hear fully only when it was Orpheus' song, as in that far-off time, still moved, you were slightly startled if a tree took too long, pondering whether to listen with you where the lyre lifted sounding. You still knew the unheard-of center place. For this you tried the lovely steps, and you hoped one day the holy fete to share, to turn toward it your friend's steps, your friend's face. 29. Silent friend of farthest distances, feel how your breath is still increasing space. Among the beams of the dark belfry's peal, let yourself ring out. That which consumes you, trace its strengthening on this sustenance at last. Be conversant with transforming time. From what experience have you suffered most? If the drink is bitter, turn to wine. And this night, out of exaltation, be the magic where your senses crossroads meet. Be the meanings that their strange encounters feel. And if you have been forgotten by the earthly, say to the still earth, I am fleet. Say to the rushing water, I am still.